Okay, so just excuse the state of me, guys. It's Monday afternoon. I am not thriving today. So we had a takeaway last night, and to be fair, fantastic food, right? We went to Newcastle, it's actually coming up, it's like a year and a half ago now, and we had the best Greek food ever. Like, we talk about this meal all the time, and we've tried all the Greeks in this area. Nothing comes close. Very sad. But last night, we found a new, I don't think it's a new place, we found a takeaway place we hadn't seen before. And we had the nicest Greek food. But I did not sleep last night. Like, I got through an entire litre and a half of squash in the night because I was so, like, it was so salty. I woke up and my face felt like 3 times the size. I was so puffy. I was just so uncomfortable. I felt like what I imagined I'd had like filler in my entire face would feel like. Not good. Also didn't weigh myself this morning just because I knew I'd obviously had so much to drink in the night. It was absolutely not going to be a true representation of anything. The amount of sodium in that meal did not feel good. And also that is the first time in years that I have just eaten to the point of feeling like uncomfortably full. And I don't really know why I did, because I've definitely, like, when my boyfriend and I were talking about, like, when I was younger, like living with my parents, like teenager kind of age, we would have a takeaway like most weeks, or we'd go out for dinner, and every single week I would overeat, and like my whole family would, like, it was just a thing that we did. And every single week my mum and I would say to each other, I am never eating that much again. I feel disgusting. That was like, it's not enjoyable when you eat that much. You know, the food is nice, but you don't need to overeat on it, because then it's not nice anymore. And I was saying to my boyfriend, I was like, that's exactly how I feel about last night's food. Like, if we order another takeaway, that's probably what we're gonna get, but I literally want half the amount. Like, it was just way too much. And to be fair, we both actually agreed, like, we would just share one portion of what we got rather than getting like a separate meal each, because the food was lovely, but we just didn't need that much. But on the plus side, I found a really good Greek place in Norwich, so I'm happy with that. Anyway, I say really good, it's probably not that good, but for us it was good. Anyway, not relevant. I have made the decision to drop my food this week. Even though it's the last week of the block, so in theory that's quite silly, I have decided to drop my food this week because actually I do still feel like I'm eating more than enough. There are ways I can add more volume to my meals if I do feel like I'm getting hungry. So my macros from this week are, on training days, slightly less carbs, slightly less fat. So 200 carbs, 170 protein, 75 fat. And then rest days, 150 carbs, so slightly less carbs again, 170 protein and 95 fat. So again, slightly less fat. So I think on both days I've dropped 5 grams of fat and 10 grams of carbs. So not a huge drop. What I've also told myself is Friday, because it is the day before my heavy end of block squats, I am allowing myself to go slightly over on my carbs. So I'll probably have like an extra 40-50 grams of carbs. But I will obviously make sure the quality of my food is as good as possible. So that's one thing I'm allowing myself to do. And same thing with Saturday, in that I will allow myself to have extra carbs just as my pre-workout meal, just to fuel myself as much as possible if I feel like I need the extra carbs, obviously. So macros have dropped. But I did kind of have a moment yesterday. So I was finally 86.9 yesterday. So I finally saw an 86 on the scales. Obviously that would be gone by today because of all the retention. But I was really happy to finally see an 86 on the scales. So it's 86.9. I also realised 4 weeks ago, I was 80, what was I? So for my end of block session, last block, I was like 88.6 that morning, where I think I've got that right. So I was like in the mid 88s, where now I'm very low 87s consistently, if not high 86s. So I'm 1.5 kilos down in 4 weeks. That's actually, like, when I put it into perspective, because I kind of feel like I'm stalling with the loss, but clearly I'm not. Like, my weight is coming off nicely, and I don't want to rush this because I've said all along, I need to get stronger as we cut. So I'm actually really happy with where I'm at, and I'm in this weird mindset where it's like, I'm not cutting for aesthetic reasons. Like, obviously it'll be cool to see how I look when I'm leaner, but I'm very comfortable in my body as it is. Like, I don't really care about it from that aspect. Like, some days obviously I have like worse body image days and stuff, but I've really grown a lot, like, just with my relationship with my body and food over the last few years, in that the number on the scales doesn't impact my opinion of myself. So it's almost like some days, like yesterday even, when I just wasn't really in the mood to track and I just kind of want a little bit of a mental break, which is absolutely fine to do, especially because I'm not on a time. Like, if I was 4 weeks out, it would be different, but I'm not. But I was like, what is my motivation for this cut? And then I was like, I don't need motivation. Like, my actual reasoning for this cut is to sustain the 84 class for as long as possible. by bringing my setting point down, because my setting point for my normal body weight has definitely crept up a lot over the last few years. And that is just because I've gained a lot more muscle mass. So my plan now is to lean down and then allow myself to continue building that muscle mass, obviously. So it's for longevity in this weight class. If I had another option to move up, I wouldn't be moving up anyway. So the next weight class for me is 84 plus. And I 1000% am in the band camp of there should be another class. There should be at least an under 100 class for the women to even things up on the male and female side, because a 120 male and an 84 female are not the same, not even close. So, and also like I'm not that tall. I'm 5'7", which I think is the average height for my weight class in the 84s. I'm not that tall. I know so many women that are taller than me that naturally weigh in the 90 kilos, if not lower hundreds. Like, it's not fair to not have that higher weight class. But anyway, even if there was like an under 95 or something, I don't think I would be moving up right now, because I've definitely got a lot of more potential within the 84s, purely because my numbers are still like skyrocketing and I'm not lean. Like, I don't think I've got the body type that will ever be lean, and typically women do hold more body fat anyway. But I know that I'm not anywhere near as lean as I potentially could be and maintain. So that is kind of the goal with this cut as well, is just to get more into that lean body composition. And again, not for aesthetic reasons, for longevity and the weight class reasons. But yeah, so that's my main update. It is a typical Monday. My camera's about to die, so I'm going to just go charge this, but nothing else to really report today. I'm literally just sat at my desk getting work done today, responding to clients, programs, editing some podcast clips up, the usual Monday stuff. So nothing to really report. Probably won't pick up my camera again today. But yeah, I'm feeling like, you can probably see it in me, like I'm just feeling really rough from that food last night. And actually I might even go under my macros today, purely because I don't want to eat. Like I've normally by this point I've had at least 2 or 3 meals. I've had a meal and a snack because I'm just not hungry, but I'm trying to just be like, just eat your normal food and you'll feel better. But yeah, also just getting through so much water and squash. So I know I'll be fine tomorrow, but this takeaway was lovely, but not worth it. Like, next time I need to eat a lot less. And I need to remind myself of this. Like, if I mention in another video that I am craving some kind of takeaway, can someone please just comment and remind me to not overeat, because I will feel like death. It is Tuesday afternoon. It is 25 to 3. I've just had my lunch and just fed Zuko. You might even be able to hear him in the background crunching away, to be fair. So today's plan, it is the final week of the block. I'm going to go to my parents to train. I want the safeties, I want the rack, I want to feel secure, and also I want to be in the warm. So gonna go there, probably leave here in about 45 minutes-ish. Aiming to get there about 3:30. So got one more program left to do before I am done for the day. Had a very, very productive morning though. Also ended up working until way too late yesterday. Bearing in mind, like, I'm trying to make a conscious effort to work less, not work less, but manage my time better and prioritise time to actually relax. Last night I was literally sat at my desk until like gone 10 PM editing up clips for the podcast. The good thing is the podcast is now like, I've got until the 3rd of March scheduled, uploaded, ready to go. I've got one more episode to edit up and get that uploaded, but I'm like way ahead of where I normally am, so that's really good. But there was no reason for me to need to do that so late last night. Also, my camera feels like it's really high up, so I'm just gonna lower that. Anyway though, busy day, but productive day today. Not got tons left to do though, which is nice. I think as well I got quite ahead on stuff yesterday, which is obviously also good, but also unnecessary. Just need to work on managing my time better, to be honest. I also still not feeling great after that takeaway. I am feeling a bit better now that it's like the afternoon, and by yesterday, like bedtime-ish, I felt a little bit more normal. But I woke up again this morning just feeling so like, I felt like I was just retaining so much. My face, I don't want to say like I felt salty, because that's not what I mean, but like I could tell there was just so much retention. My face still felt so full when I woke up. I was like, just weigh yourself. You're gonna obviously be retaining a lot, and I was retaining even more than I thought. I was 88.1 this morning, which is actually quite like comical how much I'm retaining from this take. Like, I overate big time, to be fair, so it's not a surprise. And I'm very aware that it's just gonna kind of come back off in the next couple of days anyway, so I'm not worried about it. It's just like, it's just one of those things, like it's fine. But again, weighing yourself regularly, like weighing yourself daily, it just gives you that data point, and it really detaches the emotions from the scales quite a lot, I think, and it's something that I'm really glad I do. just because it allows me to look at the scales and not freak out when I see changes. But also, a lot of the time when I do have like an off-plan, I don't like calling it, but like an off-plan meal, it's the easiest way to describe it. I know that whatever the scales say doesn't matter, and quite often I don't actually retain much at all, where I would normally, or like old Sian, like younger Sian, would have panicked, being like, oh my god, I'm gonna be so much heavier tomorrow, even though I always knew it was retention. So yeah, basically retaining a lot, not surprised though, it'll come off in a couple of days. Steps, last night I was like 50 steps away from 12,000, but I was in bed when I realised, so I was like, well, I'll just do a little bit extra today, but still averaging way over 12,000 anyway. I think my average for February I worked out this morning so far is like 12,900 a day, so well over 12, I say well over, comfortably over 12,000 steps as an average, so I'm happy with that. Also been sorting out house stuff as well and kind of planning the budget for that, and just I've actually made a to-do list of things we want to get done around the house, not like short-term, like long-term jobs to get done. Turns out getting the floor redone through the whole house is going to be quite a bit cheaper than we thought. Or at least I'm expecting it to be quite a bit cheaper than what we thought, based on what I've seen so far and looked into. So that's very good. Also, the flooring that we're going to have most likely is waterproof and dog-proof, apparently, scratch-proof, everything. So hopefully that means we can get the house feeling nicer quite soon. But just going to see, obviously just going to keep saving, budgeting, things like that. Yeah, just got to train this afternoon. I am... yeah, nothing to say. I'm not really sure how I'm feeling about training. I'm just kind of feeling like, well, I've got to do it, so I'm going to do it. Definitely less dread, like I'm not dreading it as much as I was for Saturday's session, so that's good. It is still very heavy today, but it's something I've done before, so it's like I have that reassurance in the back of my mind of like, no, you can do this. I have just finished my work for the day. I've actually been productive, just got my head down. It's literally now 3 o'clock, so I got that done a bit quicker than I thought I would. Just wanted to come on and talk about something funny, which is people slating people that are self-coached. Like, obviously I'm self-coached, so I'm gonna sit here and be like, people can be self-coached. But I've explained on my stories more recently as well, and it's something I've spoken about quite vocally on my Instagram and stuff. Like when I've had Q&A boxes, people have asked me, you know, do you ever see yourself getting a coach? Like, why are you self-coached? And things like that. And I feel like I just need to point out there are multiple very successful self-coach lifters. Like, arguably, I'm not that successful at this point, you know? Like, I am a high-level lifter. I am obviously progressing at a decent rate, and I am aiming to get to that elite level, and I fully have the confidence that I can do that, providing I can obviously keep myself healthy. And I also have been quite open about the fact that if I ever get to a point where I'm not progressing very well and things aren't moving as they should be, and I am kind of stalling and I don't know what to do, I would 100% reach out to coaches that I think are really good and look at potentially working with one. Also, if I just stop enjoying programming for myself, like if you've watched my videos for a while, my block structure barely changes. Like this block, I've made the most changes I've made in probably over a year now. Like if something's working, just keep going with it. And I'm quite happy sticking with the same program. Like I don't need the mental change, like the mental benefits of switching things up regularly. Like I'm quite happy to just trudge on through. As long as I'm getting the results I want, I'm happy. But like there are multiple successful lifters. Like the first ones that come to mind are Christian, who is 93 GB lifter. He's a fantastic coach anyway, but also he has coached himself, as far as I'm aware, most of his lifting career, potentially all of it. Very successful lifter. He's in the 93s. I think he came like 4th or 5th at Worlds. Like I'm pretty sure he's been European champion before. Like very easy example. Who also, fair enough, it's probably because he's more successful than me. I've never seen him get any stick for being self-coached. But also, Gabby Martinez, I remember when I had her on the podcast, we were chatting about it, like, she is one of the most competitive 69 lifters in the world. She won the crazy 69 battle at Powerlifting American Nationals last year. She went to Worlds. I don't think she made the podium, if I'm remembering rightly, but she was a podium contender. She's a podium favourite, like, very good lifter. And I really resonated with her in that she said that she just doesn't feel like she's necessarily coachable, like she struggles to communicate, and like I don't know that I would struggle to communicate, but I don't think I've got a coachable personality, like I really don't. And I know if I hired a coach, it would be, right, I want no input, like obviously you can ask me questions and I will give you honest answers about what I'm thinking, but I want you to tell me what to do and I just want to go athlete mode. But I also know I'm a control freak. I probably wouldn't be very good at that. Like, I would struggle unless it was a coach. Like, I always have a little list in the back of my head of coaches that I would reach out to if I started struggling and speak to about potentially working together. And they are coaches that are like top level coaches. They are coaches that would probably cost me a fortune, which I don't like spending money, which is where me coaching myself even started. Like, I just didn't want to hire a coach. But yeah, I just think the narrative that coaches need coaches isn't accurate. Like, not every lifter needs a coach. Like, if you understand programming and you understand how to program for yourself and for other people and problem solve, then you can make just as good progress coaching yourself as you can having a coach. Like, it's very much a personality thing. And if you're a highly emotional lifter, then you probably shouldn't coach yourself, right? But I'm not. I'm very good, and it's a skill I've learned over time. Like, don't get me wrong, when I was younger and coaching myself, I would overshoot all the time. I would convince myself that when I competed, I would randomly be able to lift way more than I've ever had reason to believe I could lift, and it obviously wouldn't always pay off. Where over the last few years, where I've kind of told myself, like, when I started taking the sport seriously again, after my junior years were complete, after my back was healed, I would say it was around the time my boyfriend and I actually moved in together. So probably, I mean, I was already back competing at this point, but I think my first comp back was just after we moved in together, at like the start of 2022. I didn't start properly taking powerlifting seriously until I did my first All England's back after COVID, after my injury, after my like break from competing and from lifting. And that was, I think, like May 2022. And then I was like, wow, you're not doing great. You need to up your game if you want to take this seriously. And I then told myself, okay, well, if you want to continue coaching yourself and not paying for a coach, you need to prove that you are capable of doing this alone. I say alone loosely, like I have very good friends and support system around. Like, even my mum, like, I'll just talk to her about my training. She doesn't really care, but I'll just talk to her about it. And like my boyfriend, people around me, like, I have a good support system of people that will listen to me talk about it, and that I can, like, my friends that powerlift too, I can just like throw ideas at. And I have coaches that are friends that I know if I ever wanted to, I could easily just message them and reach out and have a chat to them about my training. Like, I wanted to just prove that I could do it on my own. Otherwise it was like, right, well, if you don't progress and you don't if you don't prove to yourself that you can do this on your own, then you need to hire someone to do this, like to take the reins. And with that, I've obviously proved to myself that I can coach myself, and things are going pretty well, I would say. Considering, I mean, granted, squat is the thing that's literally holding my progress up at the moment, but my bench and my deadlift, like deadlift is a mental battle, which I think I'm overcoming slowly, and bench is just bench. Like, my bench is already at a good level, so it's hard to progress. But I already have a plan of what I would like to do for the next few months in terms of helping my bench even more. So I'm not going to talk about that in this video. Anyway, my point was basically, like, when you see coaches saying that coaches need coaches, it's not fully true. And if you are someone that coaches yourself and you get stuck on the wrong end of people's opinions of like, you need to have a coach if you want to take this seriously, you can't be a high level lifter if you don't have a coach, it's just not true. It's very personality dependent. And I think people are quite naive to the fact that you don't need to have a coach to be successful. Like, obviously most people will be more successful if they have a coach. Like, that is the fact of it, because most people struggle to take their emotions out of decision making, which if you're programming for yourself and writing your own training blocks and pacing yourself throughout a training block, for example, and like I always work backwards. I'm like, right, where do I want to be on the final week of the block? Okay, so if I work backwards, this is where I need to start the block. If I was highly emotional, the numbers I put as the plan for the final week of the block are probably going to be way above what I can actually do, or the opposite, in way below what I'm capable of, and I'll hold myself back, versus being able to rationally look at it. And also, like, with that in my own training, I actually quite regularly, like, when I'm starting to be like, am I being a bit ambitious, I'll just message my friends and be like, what do you think, like this block, what do you realistically think I can hit for a top set of 4 on squats on the final week of this block? And a lot of them actually said more than what I'm pacing for, which terrifies me. I say a lot of them, I asked like 3 people, not that many. But my point is, like, you need to be open to chatting to other people about things, but you also need to be not making decisions through emotions or through where you think you should be. You need to look at where you actually are. Anyway, that was just my little ramble, and also I'm putting off leaving the house because it's nice and warm in this house and it's going to be cold when I go outside. And my track is all in the wash, so that's annoying. But I need to get ready to go because I want to train in good time. I need to get back and do a lot of steps as well, which is one thing I'm worried I'm not going to get done if I go to my parents to train, because I'm like, I'm going to definitely get chatting. We've got some family stuff going on as well, so I can imagine myself staying for even longer, just chatting things through with my parents. And I just feel like I'm not going to get home until late, and then I'm going to have loads of steps to do. I'll make it work. I can't skip out on my steps now. We're like 18 days into February. I am not giving up on this at this point. Anyway, gonna stop talking. Gonna head to my parents in a second and train.
Down by the schoolyard where the crowd share Brianna's mind loose moves. They talk about the spring break and the yeah, Tijuana, here we come. My friends think she's so dumb and stupid, but I won't tell anyone what her and I got going on. Brianna's brother's buying beer, so freaking cool, can you believe? He'll bring his friends to college guys, our weekend plans are such a dream. My friends think she's so dumb and stupid, but I won't tell anyone. Now it's so that when we are alone, she's touching me. Well, I'm a sucker for it, give it to me. The way she's looking at me, she's so damn perfect. It's so damn worth it, the secret we keep. Yeah, I'm a sucker for it. So, this is what happened. Brianna's such a goddess, could get anyone she likes. But when she's looking at me like that, I know she's only mine. My friends think she's so dumb and stupid, but I won't tell anyone. Her hands are in my hair.
Don't know if you can hear the heater in the background, possibly. So I'm in my garage. I was not supposed to be training here. I am not in a good way, if I'm honest. Just not obviously going to go into detail. Just personal life hit quite hard today. Build up of lots of different things. And I did go to my parents with the intention to train. And it got to like 6. I put all the heaters on in their garage for like 15 minutes before I went in there. And then just stuff happened, and I ended up staying there for a bit longer, but I wasn't going to train there, and I knew it would be so late by the time I started. So I came home, I started training not that long ago. It's now 9:10, so much later than I wanted to, much later than I'd fueled for, and just not been the greatest of evenings. And to top it off, squats did not go to plan. Was supposed to do 175 for 6 to match my PB from a few blocks ago. And I knew, and this is where, like, reminder, I'm human. As much as I say, obviously, externals don't exist, and I am very good at ignoring them. Sometimes things do obviously pile up and you just can't ignore it. So I got my boyfriend out here to spot me for my top set. And I said to him before I even started, I was like, look, I don't know how these are going to move. My second to last warm-up felt terrible. My last warm-up felt okay. Even 165 for the last warm-up though, like, I firstly messed up my warm-up jumps, and then 165, it felt quick, but I didn't feel like I could even probably do that for 6 reps. So I went up to 175 as planned, and I just said to him, like, I'm aiming for 6, but I'm not willing to grind these out tonight because I want to save energy for Saturday. So if I get to 4 and it's a lot harder than planned, I'll re-rack at 4. And to be honest, and this isn't even me making excuses, the bar was not in the right place. As I popped up at the rack, it felt quite light, and then the second I went to walk back, it felt like a ton of bricks just on my back, and it was wonky on my back. And he actually said to me after, he was like, yeah, you were not, like, he doesn't really understand like the biomechanics and stuff of a squat, but he was like, you were not in line, like your body was very, like, basically wonky. Obviously he was from behind, so that's the view he got, which you wouldn't be able to see on camera. And by the time I went to re-rack it, like, I had to get him to help me in the rack, like I physically couldn't get it in the rack because that left wrist, really can't get words out, had just cocked back so much, and it was really painful, and I just wasn't in a good position. And honestly, like, just headspace is not it tonight. If it wasn't the final week of the block, I would have just pushed my days back, or if I wasn't planning on hopefully going to Powerlifting through Saturday to train with some people, I would have pushed my days back to Sunday, and just done my squats tomorrow, deadlifts the day after. Yeah, you get the point. Anyway, not a good session. I literally put my belt on, went to grab my gum shield and redo, or not redo, but get back under 175 and do 2 more reps, because my brain was like, you need to get this in. Like, you can do 6 reps at 175, even if you've re-racked it, just get back under and do those last 2 reps. And then I was like, don't be an idiot. Like, just don't, it's not worth it. Like, I fully believe that this is just like a result of externals. And I think providing I can get everything in check by the weekend, I should be fine. I'm feeling okay for deadlifts tomorrow because I feel like I don't need as much unwavering confidence and energy for deadlifts. And it's not a massive set plan for deadlifts tomorrow. Like, it's still, I'm expecting it not to be easy, but I'm more confident I can do it, where squats on Saturday were already making me nervous. And now I'm like, is it even worth going to powering through on Saturday? Because if I don't get this set, I'm going to have driven all the way there and then be in a foul mood. Obviously, I won't be in a foul mood in front of anyone. But literally, I probably shouldn't admit this on camera. The second my boyfriend left the room, I literally just, when I decided not to retake the weight, I literally just sat and cried, and I was like, well, this is shit. I did 2 sets of high bar rather than 3, but that is also to save energy for the weekend. But I mean, 2 sets of 6 at 140 is a PB on high bar. Like, I've never even done 1 set of 6 at 140, I don't think. So that's a positive. And it wasn't a strength thing, I don't think. Like, it was partly positional, and it was also just hugely a mental thing. Like, I did not want to come out here tonight. I just need to sort some stuff out, and yeah, just not the best time right now, but it's okay. It's nothing, but it shouldn't be anything like really bad like in my personal life, so I'm just gonna try and like basically just fully relax and de-stress the next few days and just go from there, but we'll see. But I think it's important for me to obviously show that, I mean, this is very rare for me. Like, I usually can push through and ignore everything going on in my life to make training go well. But kind of tonight it was almost like dominoes, and just like, I knew it wasn't gonna be the one, but it's okay. I think a big part of that is me also admitting to myself it wasn't gonna be the one, and also realizing how late it was by the time I managed to train as well. Like, I'm not gonna feel my best at this time, am I? So I'm just gonna see. The plan for Saturday stays the same. I think I still will go to powering through, but I need to really just decide. I might even just see how strong I feel tomorrow. Like, if I feel strong tomorrow, when things are hopefully a little bit more calm and better, then I know by Saturday I'll be okay. But yeah, on the plus side, high bar felt good. I don't know how bench is going to feel. I'm probably not going to talk anymore in this video because I literally just want to get bench done and just go to bed. Like, my steps, I'm not going to hit those, which I think the irony of that is the fact that I'm pretty sure I said it earlier in this video when I was filming that we're only like 18 days into the month. I can't miss my steps at this point, but I've done like 6,000 steps and I'm not forcing them in tonight. Like, I need that rest. But I think I'll probably be able to get 15,000 steps in Thursday, Friday anyway, so as long as the weekly average is 12,000 or above, I'm happy. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about the video. If there's anything to say about bench, I might do a little voiceover, but to be honest, I'm just going to take what's there. It's my tempo bench day. In an ideal world, I'll do 107 for a single and then triples at 97, but I might just repeat last week's weight depending on how things feel. But yeah, we'll just see. But yeah, nothing else to really say. Like, things, don't get me wrong, things aren't terrible in my life right now. It's just lots of things at once, and it's impacted training, which then makes me feel like it's even more of a big deal, because it's like, I need training to go well, and if training doesn't go well, I am not a happy person. But it's okay. I mean, 175 for 4 on like the worst training day I can remember having, or I've had in probably years at this point. I can't be that mad. I also think they looked high, but again, I was not in a good position, and it's cold, and I'm gonna stop talking because I would like to end this video on a really cheerful, happy note, but it's just not the mood we're in. But it's okay. No, things are okay. But I just thought it was important to obviously show this side of things too. Like, things aren't always going to be good. This is the first time end of block squats have gone badly in like a year and a half, like since I was consistently uploading on YouTube. So that alone is pretty cool, and it's my secondary day. It's not the most important day of the week. The most important day is Saturday, and I think if I kind of get behind myself and kind of rally things back together, things should be good. I feel like good support system, and just, yeah, it'll be fine. It will all be fine.
I won't tell anyone. not a soul. But when we are alone, she's touching me. Well, I'm a sucker for it, give it to me. The way she's looking at me, she's so damn perfect. It's so damn worth it, the secret we keep. Yeah, I'm a sucker for it.
Okay, we can end the video on a positive. Bench somehow pulled through and all felt absolutely fine. Tempo maybe a little bit rushed, but it has been the last couple of weeks if I'm being honest. So ending the video here. Bench went well, managed to hit what I wanted to. Back offs all felt really comfortable apart from my quads burning. Yeah, gonna end the video here. Thank you if you made it to the end. I promise next time to try and be a little bit more cheerful, but we'll see.